I don't know, I came from a country we say always we keep the best for last. So I will keep that. But I want to thank you all for coming. I want to thank the Council State for inviting us in here. And I will be talking about something most of you may be not familiar, but this is the new thing. Actually, it has been for a while, but a lot of people think this is something new, which is the regional center. My name is Adel, I'm from Egypt, so I'm going to slow down a little bit with my accent, or a mix between English and French and some Arabic. So, in 1990, actually, I'm going to give you an idea a little bit about what's EB5, and then I'm going to go over our projects here. EB5, it's a visa, kind of visa, an immigrant visa, started in 1999. And actually, in that time, the United States was attracting, or still attracting, actually tried to attract foreign money to the United States to create jobs and getting green cards. So this program, actually, in here, it's going to be very hard to do a 2-hour presentation in 15 minutes, and I'm going to try to make it faster a little bit so I don't get the red card here. Because if you come from a country where you play soccer, when you get the red card, you're out. You have to be careful with that. So that was actually in 1990, as I mentioned, that started this program here and tried to attract foreign investors. And the laws that when they started that was if you invest $1 million and create 10 full-time jobs, you get an immediate green card. And for example, I can give you an example about Egypt, for example. If you apply for a regular green card, there is now 6.5 years waiting for an interview. And I thought this is long until I was talking to one of our partners, and I find that in India, it's 11.5 years to have an interview. Compared to this program here, between 5 and 7 months, you have your green card in your pocket. There are 10,000 visas aside for this program per year. They've never been used more than 3,000 a year. There are anybody, a foreign investor can come from overseas, start a project here, hire 10 full-time jobs, can get the visa, or you can invest in what we call the regional centers like ours here. We are the regional center for Georgia. We are the only regional center who are approved for the whole state of Georgia for every county. There are differences in there, because if an investor comes from overseas to invest $1 million in a small project, chances are you see this in a dry clean or something like that, there will be no need for 10 full-time jobs, usually a husband and a wife and maybe a couple other employees. Plus also the risk for a project like this to fail is a lot higher than investing in a big project through a regional center. Right now, that was the first one, as I mentioned to you, to invest on your own, or you can invest this is a full-time job situation, and you can invest in a regional center. The program goes in 2 stages before you get your permanent residence. The first stage is what we call it the temporary green card, which is a 2-year situation. Regional centers like ours, for example, they have 3,000 visa on the side for that. And if you invest in a target employment area or TEA, there's some counties, because the United States try to direct the investment in certain counties. If you invest in such county, the amount will be $500,000 instead of $1 million. The 10 full-time jobs is still there. Now also there is the first stage when the investor gets this temporary green card. If the project fails, it's a bad day for the investor, because the investor will lose the green card and will lose the $500,000. That's why any investors coming from overseas like we have to be sure at least that this project will survive the first 2 years. That's why there's a lot of homework to be done by the investor, and our mission is to answer all those questions, because we make some very clear point that the money is at risk. I mean, there's some regional center, there's about 103 right now nationwide, and the USCIS just closed one in Florida, closed one in California, because they were said, no matter what, we guarantee your money. You cannot guarantee money. The investor, like investing in anything else, has to take what we call the calculated risk. And what's in here? The investor in first stage will be getting what we call it 526, which is a temporary green card for 2 years. That's very essential, as I mentioned, for the project to survive. Our regional center is a little bit different from other regional centers because we don't broker projects. Most regional centers find a project need 30 million or 40 million. Investors need to get a green card, they put them together and get some fees. We develop our projects and we keep about 30% ownership in every project we have. We have one, actually, I will go over a little bit later. It's very close to here, and probably everybody is very familiar with it. Once the investor got the 526 temporary green card, after that, for 3 years, we switched to what we call it 829, which is the permanent green card. In that case, it's a lot better because if the project fails, he will lose the money, but he or she will not lose the green card. Now the green card is a permanent. And then after those 5 years, it's eligible for the citizenship. So it's a lot. This is usually takes between 5 and 7. Our first investor got approved from the USCIS actually in 4.5 months. Our first investor was Chinese, second was Iranian, and the third was Korean. Now, when we have the investment here, the difference between investing in a regional center, I mentioned, and you start your own business, investing in a regional center, you don't have to be hands-on, you don't have to be doing day-to-day operations, so you can live in any state you want. If a project in Georgia, you can live by the beach, or in Florida, that's perfectly fine. You're a limited partner in a company. Each project is an LLC by itself, and the investor is a limited partner. We are general partners. The investor is getting a dividend every 3 months, and from the computer, from his mouth, if he's either overseas or here, he can direct and he can see inside each project because we have cameras inside each project. Of course, our investors coming from 2 different sources. They either in their countries, so they have to go through this procedure through the embassy, or they are in the United States under different visas, and they can do what we call status change. As long as the visa here is valid, they can go to an EB-5. And it makes a big difference. For example, when I came to this country in '84, and in the 90s, my son attended Emory. I paid $81,000 the first years as a foreigner. The next year, it was 18. We just split the 2 numbers. And that's exactly what happened with the green card. It make a big difference. So this one, I mean, it can save in 4 years. The difference between that will save a lot. Plus, the money is not lost because the money is taking dividend. Actually, most of our projects between 7 and 11% cap rate. So they are making money out of this. Now, also, the money is in escrow account. I will give you a procedure how it usually works. Usually when we have an investor who's interested, we have about 6 projects I'm going to share with you. I mean, very speedy. But we send them an executive summary to all the potential investors. They decide which one they're going to go for it. And in that time, they will start making some paperwork with attorneys and putting a $10,000 in an escrow account. During that time, we have about 30 days working with our attorneys. We have attorneys speaking very much every language. Even our presentation now is in about 6 languages, because I handle about 16 offices in 16 different countries, or the investor can use their own immigration attorney. Once the paperwork is ready, during those 30 days or so, the investor needs to transfer the $500,000 to the account. Each project has an escrow account separate from the other projects, and the money is sitting in an escrow account. We cannot touch it. I can sign on my laptop, see the $500,000 or the $1 million sitting in an account. That's all what I can do because I cannot touch it. Because if in the 4 or 5 months the investor got approved, the money will transfer to the projects. If the investor got denied for any reason, I write a check for $500,000 by law and give it back to the investor. Now, we're still talking about the benefit of investing in a regional center. The second thing, like you said, it's very fast, between 5 and 7. The other thing also that we can move a lot faster, and usually the denial numbers are or percentages very low, because unless there's somebody lied or hide some information and we find out in immigration. We are the first, as I mentioned, the first regional center here in Georgia. There's a couple other ones. Each one has one county. There's one actually, I know the gentleman, my friends. It's a Korean regional center. They manufacture the hoods and the doors for the Kia cars. Actually, the Kia is assembled at exit 6 on 85. And we are a project, actually we own 150 acres next to them now. We are working with the Korean community and we'll be talking in a few minutes about that. We're doing a lot of projects together with them. The second thing also, if you look at our website, www.gcfid, we'll go over it right now. It is actually, we have 4 partners. I mean, Prakash Patel is one of the partners is here. He is from the background of hotels, big time. I come from the background of real estate and restaurant. Probably most of you ate in my restaurant before, which is Maggiano's. I mean, I'm one of the partners, or I would be one of the partners in there, so the background of that. And then we have a developer and we have a security one. So we cover very much all the bases, and we have Charles Cook is the #1 immigration very much in the nation. I can say he's our advisor for that as well. Now, as I mentioned, the investors can either run their own, or using their own immigration attorneys, or we can recommend one. And this is one of the firms we are using. We have a couple of others in here. We deal a lot also with a lot of Chamber of Commerces, with the Chamber of Commerce, Atlanta Chamber of Commerce. He's the Vice President here. We deal a lot together. And this is our website. If you like, please visit this website. It has a lot of our projects, which I'm going to go very fast on them right now. That's my contact in here. This is our first project we just actually opened about 2 months ago. That's the Carnegie building, which is downtown. This is a historic building. We opened about a month and a half now as a courtyard by Marriott. And we have now Cafe Intermezzo in the bottom. Here is the project in here, and when we're doing all the engineering, we have now the Cafe Intermezzo in this bottom here. The second project we are working on it as well too right now is the Neil Reed building. It's a historic building as well downtown. And it's going to be, we have a Starbucks in the front of it. We own the building, and that's going to be an office building. That's 3 investors. For example, I can give you the Marriott. It's a $31 million project. We have only 3 investors in it, on it for $1.5 million. The rest is private money from the group. So we try to have this. So when somebody tell me how this project will not fail, I can tell them, you know, we have money as you in it to we play the game from the same side of that. The third one we have now is the Petit Pad Torches, which is actually it's a very historic and Andrew Young street downtown. This is a 34 or 43-year-old when we have the Gun with the Wind movies, and it's a great Southern food, one of the most famous. We are working now on renovate the whole thing for them. We own the actual building, and we are working now also on put a whole lunch menu without losing the great Southern taste they are famous for it. There's other few questions are coming. I mean, we're doing now, actually there's another project, we're doing an assisted living in Peachtree City, and it's going to be coming. I will be here after that to answer any question. Once again, I do thank you.
questions now. Yes.
Thank you. Luke Jager with McGraw Williams & Associates. I guess something that the theme that's pretty current with this is the onshore sourcing model and attracting Asian investments in the United States. If I could ask directly the whole panel, it seems in our industry where we do receivables order to cash that a lot of Asian organizations are moving to the United States because of the cost of production and full-time employee pricing is shifting, especially in the IT world. Where do you see that going in the next 15 years as more companies are looking to invest in emerging markets? I know they're looking to transfer some of that bench strength and actual human capital in the States. And you maybe speak a little bit about where you think that's going to be going here in the future.
So what has happened in the emerging markets nowadays? So what has happened in the emerging markets? The labor rate has gone up, right? Because let's say, for example, India or China, or more so India, there's just an overflow of foreign companies, or what they call MNCs, multinational corporations in India. And when you really go to an office park, whether, actually I have visited quite a few of them. I've been to Mexico, Africa. I don't know, for whatever reason, I think because the government wants to attract foreign investment, they open a little office park and they put all these big buildings next to each other. So you would see Microsoft, IBM, Accenture, Capgemini, or you would see the OEMs like Nokia, Ericsson, and Alcatel-Lucent, everybody sitting in the same office park. And then people are pretty much mingling in the parking lot or the cafeteria, and the attrition is just almost, I would say, 50–60%. So you're training them, and then before you know, they've already jumped to the next company. The prices go up, salaries go up, they get increments in 20–30%. So what is happening is the biggest challenge for the MNCs in foreign countries is this attrition. So you're training them, and then they're gone. So you retrain them. So you're almost like a training school, though you don't want to be that. So I think what is happening is the cost is bridging, if you look at it, between, I would say, United States, Europe, and the developing countries or the emerging markets, like BRIC, for example, the Brazil, Russia, India, China. And so many of them are bringing work back to the US. And I think there's been a lot of news in the press recently about IBM and all of the big four consulting companies offering flat rate pricing across the US. So I think the reverse outsourcing is going to continue, and I think the US market, there will be some kind of a balance around the world, and standardization and automation. Look at cloud computing, for example. I mean, everything is really in the cloud. I mean, it's just, you don't even know who's working on it. It's like a global cloud, if you will.
Another question?
Hi, my name is Mei Wang, and I'm professor of global sustainable development partnerships. So I have some, this is I learned a lot from this panel, and this question is for all the panelists, is what do you think, besides the advantages that about paying cost, maybe local incentives, what do you think are the major advantages of, say, the South in the United States, or United States on the whole, to offer to Asian investment? And I tend to think it's not just Asian investment. I think America has a lot of advantages that we don't see ourselves. I did some case study on Apple, and I think that was a very excellent example. But I'd like to ask the panelists, what do you guys see from your own perspective are other advantages besides just cost or incentives? I think there's this. Yeah, I just wanted to get a sense of that. Thank you.
Well, simply like my case, we settled down in Chicago area at the beginning. My family decided to move south in 1977. But I was a little late arriving in the Atlanta area. But at that time, general situation was everybody trying to move to south. So we have a good weather, and like I said, little lower living cost, and I like to say good people. Southern hospitality, I totally agree with it. So that's why I think we Asians is much more comfortable also in South State.
I mean, if I can add also, I mean, as a Middle Eastern, this is as close as it can be to our weather. I spent a year in Boston. I mean, I came from a country, for example, in the Middle East, when it rains, we shut the schools. So, I mean, this is here very close to some of the other things as well too. But also I'm dealing with a lot of investors from the Middle East and from overseas, away from the 85 as well. The real estate prices now here are very attractive. I mean, I'm a broker, we have a real estate company and do that. I mean, we get a lot of, commercial stuff, big project with 10 cents on the dollar right now. So this is very attractive. The other thing also, United States has a different flavor. If you say I invest in the United States, it's an ego covering big time. I mean, 85 was $500,000. Canada was 400,000 only to invest. But they still come into the United States now. Canada made it 800, so we are a lot cheaper. So the flavor here for the United States has its own taste as well.
I just want to add two things to it. One is the school systems. When you look at our universities in Georgia, we have some of the top schools here, so we have to take a lot of credit for that, because when industries are coming here, they're always looking for, would we be able to get the skill set required to open a, office here in Georgia. So I think that's one. And second is, the port, the access to the Port of Savannah. So I think that's very important also when you look at the trade. And again, the access to railroads. So I think the transportation piece of it is an advantage as well.
And if I may add also, and this is not a difference necessarily with Canada, but in America, legal protections, the legal system is a lot better than it is in a lot of other countries. Intellectual property protection is something that I lecture on a lot. Okay, I've been told that's it for us for now, so thank you.